Okay, now comparatively speaking, you're going to look at the two different sizes. This is a standard cup, although we're going to get probably 10% shrinkage on what's left here, so it's going to be half an inch shorter. But this cup here is a monster cup, and again 10% shrinkage, but that's going to be a fair amount. So I'm looking at this cup and I'm seeing how thick it is. Maybe I want to trim this back just a little bit more. So we're going to go back to the wheel and trim it out. Alright, the clay on on this piece is a little bit thick, so I'm going to take off probably about, I don't know, maybe even up to a quarter inch all the way around. And with tall things like this, I always like to keep my hand on top here, just in case it starts to come loose. I can kind of save it from going wacko. I'll just kind of come in and start trimming off the side a little bit. You probably can't see it from there, but you can see the squiggles. And it is getting thinner. Just pull some of the weight off of this. I mean, it's going to be a big cup, so I don't want it to be a big heavy cup on top of it. Ah, see how it's just broke free? Okay, so that's not good. So just finding the center. There we go. And let's go ahead and just push this up against there. We're not going to be putting too much pressure on it at this point. So, and since we've got it upside down and since we've got it ready to trim and everything, I can come back in and trim out this foot and have it end up looking real nice, rather than have to do what we did with the last cup, which was kind of fiddle around with that top or that bottom edge. Now we can kind of trim it out and have it finish up nicely. I'm going to come in with a small, there we go. And then go ahead and come in and make an actual foot rather than a flat. I mean, sometimes with cups, you just want to make a flat because you don't want to dig around with a foot. How come this thing is so far off? Because it's off. It doesn't like being square. Oh, now it's way off. That's better. Let's see. That's much better. I'll come in and just trim out some of this foot here, and also that's going to remove some of the weight from the clay too. Now I know that we have an arched. It starts here and then it just kind of gently arches up. So we've got a long ways we can go here. There we go. Now we got some of the weight off of that. and sometimes I'll just tap it and I'll be able to hear the hollowness of it as it gets closer. And I think it's pretty stiff right here, so I can probably take a little bit more off of the top here. Okay, now different sound. It's starting to get fairly close. I'm guessing we got, less than a 1/4 inch of clay between the outside here and the inside of the cup. So that's a good place to stop. Yeah, that is one big cup. But people seem to really appreciate that, the size, especially guys. I like the size. Okay, so I really like this design. So I may just go back in and do this design on the big cup here too, because it's gonna really give me something to play with. So I'm gonna save you the the 20 minutes of making designs here, and I'll be back. Okay, let's put a handle on. I think it's time. So yesterday we pulled the handles, and today they've kind of stiffened up, I think enough to be able to do it. Although this clay is very interesting because it doesn't get hard that quickly. Let's rotate this down so we can point at the handle. There we go. So we're going to put this handle on, but of course we've got this big wad of clay up above here, and we want to kind of go with the design of the, this little flute in the handle. And so let's go ahead and move the other handles here. So basically we could just come in and we're going to cut it, I'd say right about there. Just cut a nice long wedge. And okay, let me move this back up to the cup, and let's see what this is going to look like installed. So I think that's just going to be just about right. I mean, by itself it looks pretty big, but once you get it on the cup, it's like, okay, it's just about right. So then I come in with just some sort of scribing tool and mark. Actually, that's a little bit too dull for my taste, and I just kind of mark a X pattern in the handle, and then go ahead and do the same thing in the clay body. And what that does, it's called cross-hatching, of course, and what that does is it gets the clay, we're going to put some very slippery clay in here, and it pushes the clay into the all the little grooves, and here's the clay we're going to use. And basically I've added water to that and made it real slippery and gooey, and that's going to kind of take the place of the connection joint. So we just put it up here, and then I take my thumb underneath it and just push the two pieces together. Just get a nice connection, and then bring the handle around and just kind of let it rest there for the moment. And that's it's definitely not shaped properly, but we've still got to put the bottom edge on, and in doing that everything's going to change a little bit, so I don't want to really shape it just yet. Cut the bottom off so I can get a reasonably flat surface going there, and then make sure we're in the right position, and a little cross hatching underneath here, a little cross hatching in here, get some slip on this. Set it up into here. Make sure we're level. That's just about right. Pick the pot or the cup up, and once again take my thumb and just kind of jam it. You know, you're not pushing super hard, but you are pushing. And then kind of get something that looks reasonable under here, so that it's so that it has a decent look to it, because that's what you're going to end up with. Now, what does that handle look like? Well, from the profile, it looks like to me it kind of needs to be up just a little bit. That looks pretty good right there. Now, right now the clay is pretty gooey, so it's not real. I can't really come in and do any final sculpting to it. I can just kind of get it roughed out. I come in about 2 or 3 hours from now and you know, smooth everything down and make everything fit nicely. Right now we're just getting the roughed out version. Now I'll come in on the bottom here, and this is going to be a little bit easier because it's not quite as much of a mess. In fact, it looks like the whole thing just fits perfect. All right. So I can't really, I mean, I want to go in and smooth all that out, but it ends up being a mess if you do that. So again, a couple hours from now, I'll come back in and smooth all that out. So at this point, I get to sign it.